time.
Oh, man. I got in the car last night. I went back to the hotel. I woke up today. I said, it's over. I called my wife. She said, get home. It's over. I got on the plane. I sat down, and I said, I ain't leaving home.
Wait a minute. We're in boxing for a second.
I ain't going home. You jackass.
And I know in the past couple of weeks, because I haven't been here, this program's ratings have gone down. Well, don't worry. I'm not Bobby Horner. And when you want to bring your program up, Bill Blanchard here to do it. When I get there, you're going to find out once and for all. Woo! We've only just begun. You understand? Learn to love it. Learn to live with it. Diamonds are forever. And so is Bill Blanchard.
Deathlock Productions is proud to present The Shootout with Bill Blanchard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to once again of the Wrestling Shootout. We have been gone for a very long time, probably 6 months now. The last show we did with Caleb's Kitchens and everything, and very, very, very controversial ending, and it did cause a very, very, very controversial ending of the Wrestling Shootout. Specific reasons, and I'm going to go into detail today. But I'm also here to announce that the Shootout, Wrestling Shootout, is coming back. We are better than ever. We are under a brand new production company called Deathlock Productions. We're being sponsored by We Love Wrestling 605, which is going to be a brand new podcast show that's coming on, as well as another big podcast, which I'm going to let my brand new co-host, I'm about to introduce him right now, is also going to be on the show. He's going to talk about another podcast show that we're going to be doing, which all is going to be on Deathlock Productions. We're going to answer some specific questions on this particular show on the relationships with Christopher Dickens and Touch My Bass Productions. We're going to talk about, the fallout that we had and why Touch My Bass Productions no longer exists. It's actually going to go away. It's being shut down. I think the archive videos are still going to be there. But as of right now, the survivor of pain, Bill Blanchard, is no longer in working relations with Touch My Bass Productions. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit right now. But at this time right now, I'm going to welcome into a new co-host of mine. He's going to make appearances here, sporadic appearances on the Wrestling Shootout. He's also going to be my new tag team partner in some other podcast shows that we're going to venture out. I think you wrestling fans out there will definitely enjoy. As far as my loyal Wrestling Shootout fans, you're still going to get the hardcore questions, the hardcore dirt. The only survivor of pain has the balls to even ask. And I'm not going to back off either. If I think you're BSing me, I'm going to really lay into you until you get the truth. And as far as you so guys who can't handle the truth, trust me, you need someone like me. You need someone like me fight for you wrestling fans out there who deserves to know the truth. As the Fifth Amendment of the press, we have a right to know, and the public has a right to know, and it's my job to make sure everybody here has the right to know what goes on the independent side of professional wrestling right here in the CSRA. As of right now, I'm going to bring in my new guest. He's also going to be my co-host, tag team partner at Podcast Wrestling here. He has been my nemesis. He has been my rivalry. He has been my friend. He is also my brother. Like right now, he's no longer my enemy. He is now my new tag team partner, my business tag team partner, and he's still my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I welcome you, the former UCW heavyweight champion, the former AWF heavyweight champion, multiple-time hardcore and Georgia Southern champion, and world tag team champion. This guy had once earned the nickname Lord of Hardcore. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Christian Fury, Jay Garganis. Boss, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here. It sure as heck been a long time coming, hadn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I never thought what happened.
I didn't think it would happen, and especially the way it happened. I wasn't expecting that in a million years. But, yeah, we did. We'll touch base on this with the shootout. Yeah, we did have our differences, and it was at times where we thought we were even going to go our separate ways, but something kept us together. That one little shred kept us together, and now it has grown stronger because in light of recent events and everything like that, the veil has been opened. There's nothing hidden between me and Survivor of Pain no more. We're an open book. Everything got brought out in the open. When we had a day that we didn't sit down with the shootout, we actually did face-to-face, and we got things settled, and I feel like we're going to be able to move forward with this business venture.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We could have wasted our time for years bashing each other, maybe getting in the ring and bashing each other's skulls. And at the end of the day, what point was I going to prove? As Bret Hart once told Owen Hart, we can channel that energy into something positive. And I think that's what we're going to do right now, and make no bones about it here, On another podcast show me and you are talking about doing, we decided to let our heat go against each other, our different views on professional wrestling in the industry today. Things, as far as the Undertaker streak we're going to be touching base on, the history of King Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff, the Goldberg streak in WCW, teenage decision to bring in Kurt Angle and some of the angles that he was, placed in as their number one guy, and did it pay off in the end? And, everybody had different opinions on that. Do big name talents draw a crowd? Why didn't it work for TNA? It worked for WCW, but didn't quite work for TNA. We're going to be discussing all that stuff. We're going to be discussing differences of views about Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling compared to Paul Heyman's ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it too. But, and when I told you this over the phone, a couple of weeks ago when me and you talked about doing this, Jay, don't hold back, man, and don't take it personal, man. We're going to lay into each other, just lay into each other. We're going to keep it professional. But, hey, no strings attached, man. No pulling no punches. We're going to go at this thing head on and head on as it is.
Now, we're not always going to agree. There's some things that we will agree on, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't agree on. And that brings us to our first topic at hand. That's going to bring us out to a show that we're going to be starting, that me and you are partnering on 50-50, and it's going to be called Shots Fired. This could take anything in the wrestling business.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. So
Shots
basically,
fired.
I'm getting a gun, and I'm going to shoot on you. You're going to shoot at me about wrestling business?
Pretty much. We're going to take either storyline angles, current pushes, or old pushes. They don't necessarily have to be today's product. It could be yesterday's product, or even stuff that we see coming up in the future that we can see laid out by WWE, TNA. Heck, if we get able to get footage, I love to do Ring of Honor, and I love to do New Japan Pro Wrestling. Stuff that I see that I feel like could be done better, or the person that they're using ain't the person they should be using. That stuff right there is what we're going to be talking about. And if we agree, which might be slim, okay, we agree. But we're going to disagree on a lot of things, on angles and stuff like that, which I'm happy to announce that for the Shots Fired show, we are bringing back the Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal from the old school WCW days when they had Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal. But instead of match types, we're going to put different topics. That way we're not in control of the topics. And even the fans on our Facebook page, when it gets created in the next week or so, that it's going to have topics that the fans want to see, or want to talk about. That's going to enter the wheel. Once a topic comes off, the next topic in line is going to go on, and we're going to keep spinning the wheel for every show that we do. So we won't know what show we're doing until we spin the wheel on that very show. We got to be prepared for anything that gets thrown at us. And I think that's going to be something that I haven't heard done in podcasts yet, and I feel like it'll keep us on our toes. So we're not really truly 100% prepared on the topic that we are about to do. Granted, we're going to do our research. We will do our research but we should have working enough knowledge.
Unless your name is Survivor Pain, the wrestling. I my research is in my brain, dude. I don't need Wikipedia or Google to know my freaking stuff.
Yeah, and that brings us up to our next show, which is WLW 605. And I know you guys.
605. Didn't that used to be the old Saturday night show with TBS? 605.
That's right. Saturday night at 605 Live on TBS, the Brain Station. Turner Broadcasting Station. But I love the Brain Station better. And homage to Bobby the Brain Heenan. God rest his soul. But that's going to talk about old school wrestlers, people that necessarily.
Let's also clarify, though. It's not just, it's dedicated to the Saturday night 605 Eastern show shown on the Superstation, but it's not just going to be about, NWA and WCW. We're talking about, wrestlers from the Northeast territories of the old WWF or even WWF at the time. We're going to go from the Vern Gagne and AWA and talk about some of the guys. And like you said before, this show is, it's going to be dedicated to wrestlers who did not quite get the spotlight they deserve. But at the same time, we're going to pay homage to their career, And we also got a special announcement to make. If you don't mind me saying so.
Go ahead.
We're going to pick a match. We're going to tell you, follow you up at WWE Network. We're going to try to find a match, tell you where to go. And we're going to do a live commentary. We're going to pick a match that took a wrestler's career, to highlight his career, a match that made him on the map, or a match that we just fell in love with. We're going to show it to you anyways.
That's right.
Get a chance to listen to some really cool commentary between myself and Christian Fury. You know, our love for wrestling. The show is called We Love Wrestling, and no one loves wrestling more than Survivor Pain and Christian Fury. And we're going to prove that on 605 every single Saturday night at 605.
That's right. And that's right now. And between both those shows right there, me and Survivor Pain and Bill Blanchard, we're equal partners in this, 50-50. The Shootout, that's more his show. I'm helping him co-host this. And I might have a show coming up in the works in the near future where Survivor Pain is also going to help me co-host that when we have time. I know it sounds a lot that me and Survivor, you're going to get tired of hearing our voices, but then again, maybe you won't, because you'll find out just how knowledgeable we really are about the business and our viewpoints. You know, I think it'll make for very interesting stuff. That way you know exactly what you're going to get out of these shows.
Well, you know, also very the thing about the Shootout, I'm not changing much of my format. We're still going to be interviewing the top count here in the CSR area, Georgia and Carolina area, and I'm going to try to reach out across the globe to any other wrestling talents that wants to get out there on our podcast. We're going to do a wrestling shoot and how they feel about the business and their careers and some things they hated and didn't like, working with certain promoters, working with certain wrestlers, and let the truth come out. And speaking of this, man, I think our fans have waited long enough. Let's go ahead and dive into the Chris Dickens story. So whatever questions you want to ask him, man, fire away.
All right. Now, with Chris Dickens, I mean, keep in mind, this is, some of the stuff does get personal, but most of it is business. It's more business decisions and stuff like that was made. So, okay, all right, Bill. Touch My Bass. When you agreed to initially start this show, what all was told to you to get you to start doing this? Because at this point in time, you didn't really care much about the wrestling business or involved any aspect of it because you were soured towards it.
Well, you know, Chris Dickens knocked on my door. He kept trying to call me. He texted me, messaged me about an idea he had for Touch My Bass, you know, and it started off as a joke, but he said it caught on. He started doing a show called, I think it was The Bite, you know, and then he had the 90s Nostalgia Show and with you, obviously.
Yep.
He wanted to do two dudes movie reviews, or me him reviewing the movies, and he kept pitching this idea about a wrestling podcast. And I was very, very sour to the business about my injuries that had happened. Me and my first wife had broken up, and a lot of it had to do with everything that was going on with AWS and how devoted I was to try to get that promotion on the map. And I was very, very moved in depressive state. I had received a severe concussion in the ring, which we all know that story. Look at the archives, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Thanks, Jerry. And I had to go through a lot of rehab, a lot of therapy with the doctors. I go through, I don't want to get too much detail about my medical history, but hey, I was hurt. And I'm still hungry.
Emotionally.
Well, physically, emotionally. You know, I still was wanting to get back into the business, but the promoter and the management of UCW would allow me to get booked. So I go through a certain amount of training and try to prove I can still do it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I was really upset and pissed off to the point where, I wanted nothing to do with anybody in UCW. You know, they all felt such negative ways about me. And I got no problem letting everybody know that I've been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm a combat veteran. Everything that had to do with between preparing for Afghanistan and Iraq, I mean, it was a hellacious war. And I saw things that, you know, a normal person just couldn't comprehend. And when I mean normal person, just your average American working.
That's right.
I'm not saying nothing bad, but if you ain't stuff in the military and law enforcement, you have no idea what it means to be in close combat.
Right. And that line from Rambo speaks true. That line from Rambo speaks true, where he says that those nightmares you have, that man calls home. You know, and that's what happens with people that suffer with PTSD, whether it be from law enforcement or military career or anything dealing with EMS, or heck, it could happen to you physically that had nothing to do with any type of public service or service, but.
That's fine, but the nightmares that I was having is if you ever take a man's life, it does something to you psychologically. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was dealing with. You know, so about UCW not wanting nothing to do with me, you know. And I was really upset for the man never apologizing, or, you know, it felt like another person's felt was more important to him than my well-being. And I was very, very bitter by it. And I wanted nothing to do with the business. I was done. I wouldn't watch current wrestling. I was not watching Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, anything with TNA, anything with wrestling, period. I wasn't going to no indie shows. I completely withdrew myself. I went ahead and got myself remarried, moved on with my life, got back in law enforcement. But Christopher kept knocking on my door and kept trying to, you know. And then, you know, I remember listening to the Steve Austin show once. Woo Nation, Ric Flair Woo Nation, listening to that, Jericho's podcast, and of course Jim Ross's Rossi Report really, really, truly caught my attention, you know, and it started making me, you know, fall in love with wrestling again. And of course, Dickens talked to me about doing a podcast for in-ring people, you know, and I actually came up with the name. And I said, okay, if I would do this thing, you know, I'm a shoot fighter, I'm a shoot wrestler, and I said, hey, I got it, the Shootout, you know, and Christopher said he loved it. You know, and Christopher created the intro to the thing, and Chris says, you know what, I'm going to hit quarter play, and let's just start talking. And then I just laid into it, and it all went on from there. You know, but Chris Dickens told me that, hey, we're going to be equal partners in Touch My Bass. He shook my hand, you know, and we were going to take Team B to the top. Now, my mindset of doing a wrestling shootout, when I started interviewing Chris Dickens, I started interviewing Alan Luke, and the next thing I know, I'm interviewing Christopher Wiggins, you know, the owner of Flatline Pro Wrestling. We talked about his career and his business since with Flatline Pro, you know. And then next, you know, I'm doing Justin Chambers. And then next, you know, I'm doing Wolfguard, doing Joe Dirt. I got Christian Fury on the show. You know, I'm getting some of the Alba crew that used to us on AWF, you know, and I got Brandon Parker, you know, the Draven. A lot of these big names that made it in the indie scene. And I've got like almost 40 shows. You know, I done did with the wrestling shootout. Got even you know, Billy Johnson was a guest on my show.
And some of those, you know, even two-parters.
Well, yeah, some were two-parters, you know, and the guys came back on the show, and then everybody, and the show was getting a success. And then when I started trying to advertise my show and getting it out there, you know, when I'm seeing my numbers were growing from 100 to 200 to 500 to 1,200 to 1,500, all the way up at 3,000 views, I'm still telling myself, I'm competing with UCW by podcast because they're getting 15, 20 people attending their shows. I'm getting 2,000 people viewing the wrestling shootout. So my mind was my product would be more entertaining, more better than what those guys can do. And then I guess it went personal with me until I had to sit down and talk with Don about a lot of things. You know, I felt like it's me and Chris Dickens versus the world. We're going to take our network, Touch My Bass Productions, and be the #1 production company in this area that dealt with wrestling podcasts or any other small video shows. But see, I kept hounding Christopher over and over, wanting to do more videos as far as I had different ideas for different shows, you know. And then Christopher recruited Caleb Stovall and got him on shot doing shooting the shit, you know. And then I think he tried doing Fear's Corner with you, and then I started an issue. And Chris Dickens dropped Fear's Corner because, you know, Chris told me the Fear's Corner got maybe 2 or 3 views and then wasn't really, you know, working until Christopher canned it. Then Christopher got Codeman Talk. You know, that show got pretty popular, you know, but all of a sudden Christopher really started doing more projects and he just was not communicating with me the way I felt like he should have. And every idea I threw at him, you know, he'll put it on the back burner. And I don't know, then Christopher one day tells me, man, this is starting to feel like work. I don't want to do it no more. I'm like, what? You know, like, dude, our views are growing. We're growing. We need to keep doing this thing. Chris didn't want to do it, man. Now, Chris, he might sit there and tell you that he's starting a new career, a new job, but he was telling me this before he got that promotion. And when he got that promotion, I was still telling him, look, dude, Conrad Thompson was something to wrestle with Bruce Prichard and Tony Schiavone on What Happened When. Now 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff, you know. Conrad lives in Alabama, and Bruce lives in Texas, and Tony lives in Marietta, Georgia, for God's sake. Bishop lives in Wyoming. They still found a way to get their podcast going. So, Christopher, anywhere you're going to go, we can still find a way to at least get 1 show a month of the shootout, even 2 shows, you know. No, it feels like work. I want no part of it. Then he threatened me and you to keep me in check. He threatened to erase every single episode.
Yeah,
you know, and we had a big blow up. You know, no. He told me that in person before we had that meeting.
That's right.
He just acknowledged it when we were talking about it. He said he did to keep us in check. It's indicated that the buck stops with him, that he is the boss.
Now, with that, he was also, you were led to believe that when he said we're 50-50 partners, that he led you to believe that was with the overall production company would Touch My Bass.
Yeah.
And then it came to light at that particular one that I had just as much say as you did with the production company. And then he later stated anybody that does podcasts for this particular production company has equal say, but the buck stopped with him. So it completely changed everything that he was talking to you about, and plus too, he had constant break, getting burnt out because he stretched himself thin, and we warned him. It's like, dude, you're taking on so much. You're taking on too much. He's like, no, man, I'm not. This only takes a little bit. That's why I'm focusing on podcasts. I'm done with video. It's so easy to do, and granted, he's in a new career path and all, which is great. It's good for him. But that's good for him, and we're wishing him the best. But as far as the production side of things, we didn't want to stop. We wanted to continue doing what we love to do, and that's podcast. And we wanted to do, because we started up WLW 605. The original name was Yes, We Love Wrestling. And that's something that we were going to do every Monday night to pay homage to the Monday Night Nitro, for the Monday Night Wars. We figured every Monday night we can get together, regardless if it went up on Monday, that's fine, But that's when all these other projects that we didn't know that he was doing with shooting shit, because he said he wasn't going to stress yourself then, and then he got with that, But with all that cast aside, he decides to, that's too much like work, and he was pretty much done. So, we decided to go with Deathlock Productions, which is a production company that started doing wrestling shows for UCW and has branched out to Livewire and Bushido. And he pretty much gave us free run and the ability to be able to do it ourselves, that we're not having to focus on one man having to do everything, So we have a little bit of creative, a little bit more freedom, so to speak. I don't know if I want to call it that. Freedom. We might as well say freedom. We might as well say a little bit of freedom to be able to do what we want to do, as long as we keep politics out of it, which is fine. This is a sports show. This is a sports thing. Political departments have no place in it unless it's talking about politics in the locker room. So I think I done ran my mouth enough. Anything you want to go with, Survivor Pain? I did kind of take over your show.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. I was in complete shock at how Christopher treated me at the end of Touch My Bass. He said some hurtful things to me. It really upset me. But, me and him had talked since then, and, he was going to start something else, and I told him I don't know. I said I've got a lot of, hurt, resentful feelings, because I invested money in Touch My Bass Productions, okay? I just didn't invest my time. I invested my hard-earned money because I believed in him, and I thought he believed in me. And I thought we believed in each other, and I thought we were really trying to, do something good for the wrestling community, because podcasts is really starting to take off. I figured everybody here in the CSRA that wrestled in not only AWF, not only Flatline Championship Wrestling, Flatline Pro, Wrestling for Jesus, Throne, Southern Wrestling Federation, APW, even Livewire and Bushido, and and all these other promotions, IWE, anybody that wrestled in between Georgia and South Carolina area in the CSRA, man, we all got good stories to tell.
That's right. Good road stories.
We've had not just the road stories, but things happen in the ring, things happen in the back. Real life shit actually happened. We can compare it to anybody that's ever been to the WWE, WCW, TNA, whatever, and we have some good stories to tell as well. And some things really happen. Guys, I wanted the Shootout to be like a wrestling therapy, a way to get it off your chest, let's iron it out. It makes you feel better. If anything, you're not carrying out weight on your shoulders no more. And you get a chance to really say how you feel. A lot of guys came on the show, like James Houston, just let it flew. He let everything come off the handle. And I thought Christopher was behind all that. And all of a sudden he says, man, it just feels like work. I don't want to do it, you know. And then he said he was just going to shut it down completely. And just boom, just like that, you know, because he claimed he had the power to do it. The buck stops to him. We had the final word. Boom, done. No more shows. You know, and I can do one of two things today. I can take my ball and go home, or I can find me another ball and go room with it. You know, and then when Deathlock Productions offered me to bring the Shootout to his page, and he was going to produce it, you know, and he said I would have more freedom and control, and I decided to run with it, man. You know, but you know, as far as you know, Chris Diggins goes, I mean, Christopher, always be grateful for everything he did for me. And he gave me a platform to do the Shootout, and I do appreciate that. I just hated how it ended. But you know, Jay, I'm 38 years old, man. I'm a grown ass man. I got a wife with 3 kids, and you know, I'm not gonna let this stuff right here kind of consume my life. This is what I do because I love it. I'm not gonna let it, you know, ruin everything else I got going for me. You know, so Christopher, I wish Christopher all the best in the world, and everything he decided to do. Christopher told you and told me point blank he is done with the wrestling business. He wants nothing to do with the wrestling business, including podcasts, anything, period. He is done, doesn't want no more to do with it. You know,
right. And
if that's how Christopher chooses it, then that's his decision. I'm not here to question it. You know, I'm not going to, you know, say no more else about it. You know, I shook his hand. I wish him luck. And anything he decides to do in the future, I wish him all the best. But as far as business-wise, I'm going my way and Chris is going his way. And I guess that's just how life is. Everybody goes their separate ways. And that's what me and Chris Diggins have done. I can't speak for you. You know, but as far as business-wise, between me and Chris Diggins, he's doing his thing and I'm doing mine.
Pretty much sums everything up on that aspect, I would think. But yeah, feelings mutual. We decided to part ways professionally. And we're going to kick ass in this podcast and bring it back to where it was and greater. You know, because right now we have no intentions of slowing down or stopping. We have a full lineup ahead of us, which we're not going to give anything away at this current juncture, you know. Because there's still some final pieces of the puzzle.
But just understand, though, guys. I mean, I got no problem saying this, man. And you should have no problem saying this either. When we're doing shots fired, we're going to talk about anything and everything in wrestling, but we may not know on top of our head what topic it could be. I'm telling you what some of the choices is going to be on that spinning wheel. I mean, yeah, Undertaker's win or lose winning streak at WrestleMania is a big hot topic we're going to definitely deep into. Whether it was a disgrace or not a disgrace to lose to Brock Lesnar, or what did that say to 21 people he beat? You know, what does it say about them compared to Lesnar? Which a lot of people, a true wrestling fan, looks at Brock Lesnar as a part-timer. You know, a guy who didn't love the business. He's just there for a paycheck. You know, but some look at Brock Lesnar as this guy's a freaking invincible monster. He has the qualifications of being the dead man. But with that being said, we're going deep into that though. You know, but it's not just, you know, the Undertaker straight man. My God, man. Should Kurt Hennig have been the fourth horseman, or she had joined the NWO? But he chooses to go to the NWO. Did his career go down the toilet, or did it skyrocket him? You know, that's up for debate. You know, and we're going to talk about topics like that. You know, we're going to talk about, you know, should Kurt Angle have worked with Jeff Jarrett when knowing his wife dumped him for Jeff Jarrett? Was it fair that Bruce Pritchard pushed that issue to let these guys work together and think it might create ratings and money for TNA? I mean, that's up for debate. Same thing with Matt Hardy and Edge and Lita in that situation. You know, did they put dogs in Vince McMahon's pants? I mean, yeah, we were great, but what's that thing that did Matt emotionally? Even Lita and Edge, for that matter. You know, I mean,
I when they moved on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge debate. I mean, the Monday Night Wars is going to be a big, huge debate, all kind of stuff. You know, we're going to talk about topics that people react to on different podcasts. We're going to throw a few points on it. Is Eric Bischoff full of shit or Bruce Pritchard full of shit when they talk about what they've done behind the scenes and what you call is false and what not false? You know, there's all kind of things we're going to talk about. That's going to be on our Spin the Wheel fans. So you just stay tuned. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right. I'm going to put you like that.
That's correct. You're absolutely right. And with WLW, we've already discussed what we're going to do with WLW 605. And I think we touched base on a little bit of everything that we were going to touch base on. Everybody now is in the know of what's going on and why Shootout is now on Deathlock. We got advertised our new shows being on Deathlock coming up in the near future. I guess this is as good a time to end it to go ahead and send everybody off.
Hold on a second. We got to address this issue. Okay. We got a little bit of time. I want to address this issue before I forget, because the last podcast me and Christopher did, a lot of heat got from it when we interviewed the Professor Caleb Kitchens. Okay. Now, as an in-ring competitor, I got a lot of mad respect for the Professor. He's gut promos. He's a good technician, and you know how he views on politics outside the ring. Hey, it's his damn right to feel how he wants to feel. This is America. You have a right to think. Okay, you have a right to choose what you want to believe, what you don't want to believe. You know, guys like me and Jay Popper should have that right. So I'm not going to sit there and talk about that. But I am going to talk about, you know where I'm going with this, though, boss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
An issue was addressed to Josh Pascal. You know, if y'all know him as a wrestler, you know, Damian Sick, and I'm going to address this right now. First of all, I want to apologize to him. It was not my intention to bring that freaking shit on the air. I specifically told Chris Pickens, I think we need to edit that out. I think I was going too far. I think the Professor went too far talking about what happened, what supposedly happened. Because I don't like that he said, she said bullshit. I'm sorry.
No.
Especially when dealing with some of the allegations he was accused of, which was, in my opinion, proven to be false. And for someone to go in the air and says, I believe her, I think she's telling the truth, without really knowing the whole situation. You're only hearing her side of the story. You know, I mean, Jay, in our line of work, I got no problem saying this. We all know is when a female runs her mouth, the majority of the public, including law enforcement, are going to take her side and they're going to be automatically guilty.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to go on record right now, and I'm embarrassed to say it. I should have did this 6 months ago. I was kind of caught off guard. And I apologize for that, though. I personally do not believe Josh Pascal did anything that he was being accused of. You know, I know Josh. Hey, okay, Josh can be a wild guy. He's a hell raiser like most of us are. You know, but even there's some lines I don't think Josh won't cross. You know, and I do believe what Josh said is true. But Josh is back, and I promise you right now, I am going to get him on the show. And I only give him an opportunity to tell his side of the story if he chooses to, and he's going to address some other issues he has had in UCW dealing with young talent. And I promise you, wrestling fans, when I do bring the Shootout back, the Shootout comes back on the air in a couple of weeks, it's my full intention for him to be my first guest, respond to anything that the Professor had to say, anything that Chris Dickens decided. When Chris Dickens told me, no, man, I need to let it air. All this needs to be told. I said, dude, I don't think that's a good idea. Listen, I ask the questions that people answer. Chris produces the show. He edits the show. He decides what goes on there, what doesn't go on there. And Chris decides that the whole show go on there. I was not 100% for that. You know, I'm not trying to get ratings like that. You know, I was trying to keep it all wrestling related.
Right.
Now, I do personally feel what happened to Hancock was totally uncalled for, and I am going to hold Josh accountable for that. I'm going to get Josh to defend himself man-to-man, face-to-face with me. I look forward to it, though. Now, I'm going to say it's your boss. I got no personal feelings toward Josh one way or the other. It's just strictly a professional way. Outside the ring, I love Josh. Inside the ring, Josh might be one of the hardest hitters in this sport ever seen, you know.
I will tell you this. He was here. I was with him that night that he finally listened to that podcast all the way through, and he was ready that night to do a shootout with you. So I already know that's a confirmation right there that he will be on the show.
Oh, I can't wait. And we're going to address everything.
But,
you know, so when my next guest on the Wrestling Shootout will be Damian Sick. And we're going to talk about all the BS he's ever been accused of, things he's done right in the ring. Some things he did question in the ring. But my job is to get the truth and get it out there. And I'm going to do it. Like I do it prosecution style and cross-examine him, and every little thing he says or does, hey, so be it. I'll do the same thing for anybody else. When you come on my show, If there's something uncomfortable that you don't want to talk about, then that's fine. Let me know now, and I'll, if you're uncomfortable with certain things, but it's my focus to keep it on wrestling. Anything that happens in the ring, what happens in the locker room, what happens to union promoters, we'll talk about anything that happens wrong in your marriage, relationship-wise. I don't care. That's your business. What you do in your bedroom is your business. What my job is to get, hey, let's talk about what happened in the ring.
I agree.
Now the bell hits, that's what we're going to do.
I agree.
That I am going to put my foot down. That's what I'm going with. I was very unhappy what happened at the last episode I did with Caleb Kitchen. Not my intention to bring that up.
Well,